Quasi here, and in this video, I want to talk to you about pure intention and why it always seems like there's someone working against you and it always feels like there's some friction going on when you're on the path to achieving your goals. And by the end of this video, you're going to learn why desire actually doesn't help you get to your goals at all, but rather what actually does and the true mechanism towards goal achievement. I really want you to stick around to the very end of this video because I'm going to be sharing with you 3 keys to really make this implementable and also to help you achieve goals with ease without needing to fight and resist against and doing hard work and massive grinding. Before I begin this video, I want to quickly announce that a couple of spots have opened up for the free one-to-one consult with me and my team for the Reality Mastery program. Make sure you wait around till the end of the video for the announcement on that. And let's get started with this video. So today I want to talk to you about pure intention and understanding why desire doesn't help you get to your goals and what actually does. And really, this was something that was key for me to know because I always saw that there was some other part of me I was fighting against, and that didn't serve me. And we have this huge misconception nowadays that, oh, if you want something, you must want it bad enough, you must have a burning desire for it. And that concept I learned in Napoleon Hill's Think and Grow Rich. And for a long time, I was trying to, bring out that desire, trying to do things to, set afire that desire. But really, you don't have to bring out desire. You just have to remove the blocks to it, right? Desire is always going to be there. It's just a natural process of life. People always want to be free, and we always attach certain material things that make us think that we want to be free, right? So that's why this goal achievement, this experience in the material realm even comes into play. So today I want to share with you that, first of all, when you think about desire at all, it always begins in resistance, right? So think about it this way. Whenever you want something, you always resist the opposite of it first. You look in the mirror and you're like, oh shit, I'm fat. I don't want to be fat. What do I want instead? To be skinny. So then you go to the gym and you try to get fitter. Or you look at your bank account and you look at all the fun things you could be doing, but you just don't have the money for it. So the desire, it begins in resistance of, okay, I don't want an empty bank account. What do you want instead? Well, I want a full bank account. But the biggest problem is that when we focus on this resistance, since this desire is born out of resistance, we keep drumming up that resistance, right? We just keep focusing on it more and more. And what happens is a phenomenon called target fixation occurs. Kind of like being on the highway. You look at the car next to you and you focus on avoiding it. And the more you focus on avoiding that car next to you, the more you move towards it, right? Life doesn't really care about what you focus on, whether you focus on avoiding something or you focus on getting something. Whatever you're focusing on, the content of your focus becomes the point you move towards. If you focus on your empty bank account, you're going to keep having an empty bank account. If you're focusing on how you're fat, you're going to keep being fat. You see what I'm trying to say? So life doesn't care about the nature, but rather the actual content of the focus. Okay? This was very key for me to understand because this is something that helped me succeed in my business too. So what I also want you to know is that desire and resistance are both futile in the achievement of goals. You can desire something all you want. You can want it with all your heart. But if there is no movement towards that goal, achievement will never happen. Okay? So this is what I mean by it. Any sort of achievement, any sort of change that we bring about, the mechanism that actually brings about this change is not desire, neither is it resistance. You can want things as bad as you want, but it'll never come unless you make the decision and the intention to. This is very key to understand, okay? So you might be wondering, what is the fundamental difference between desire, between resistance, between intention even? So here's what it is. If we have a scale, right? On one side of it, you have resistance. And on the other side of it, you have desire. The minimal you can do is shift your focus from the resistance to the desire. But the best thing to do is just completely avoid this scale anyways, right? Because it's just two ends of the scale you're focusing on. This scale won't serve you. In parallel, when we take this desire and we transmute it to intention, that's when this forward movement occurs. Intention isn't really part of this scale because there is no opposite to intention, right? You just make an intention to move in this direction, or you make an intention to move in that direction. You have intentions and counter-intentions, but counter-intentions are still intentions. But it's going against what you want, right? So intention is completely devoid of this polarity. When you have desire and resistance, there's always going to be a polar opposite to it. So the minimal you can do is focus on desire, because when you focus on what you do want, then the possibility to moving towards it even opens up, okay? So we keep drumming up on this resistance. Really ask yourself this. Right now, every single thing that you want, it was born in resistance. To give you an example, I want to become really, really successful because I don't want to be mediocre, right? That's how it began for me. But I don't focus on that anymore. What I do focus on is that big vision I have and what I want to move towards, not what I want to move away from. We want to get to financial freedom because we want to get out of our 9-to-5 jobs. We want to, make money because we want to avoid the bills and the poverty. We want to get into relationships because we don't want to be alone. So you've got to really check which place it's coming from. Are you predominantly coming from a place of scarcity and lack? Or are you actually coming from a place of abundance and wanting to experience something else? What is 51% of the thoughts, the feelings, and the attitudes you have on a daily basis? That's what you got to keep in check. Because the more you focus on this resistance, the more you move towards it. It's like reality is like a mirror, and it reflects the attitude you have towards it. When you whine and complain about what's not working, life will give you more and more to whine and complain about. If you want to check more about this, click up here. I made a video on the reality mirror, how to really use it, and the delay principle that is key to understanding this, and why people move 2 steps forward and then eventually 2 steps back when you start complaining about what's not working. Right? So the key thing I want you to take away from this scale is to get rid of this scale in the first place. The minimum you can do is focus on desire, but the best thing to do is focus on the intention and moving towards that goal. To really give you an example of this, when I first started off my business, this is what I would focus on. I remember hitting my first 20K month in my coaching business, and what I was focusing on was the 3 clients that I didn't sign, and think, shit, I could have made so much more money. I could have totally wrecked this 20K month barrier, but I didn't focus on the clients that I did get, but only on the clients that I did not. So you see what hypothesis I was coming with, right? So this is also what we do. When we come from a place of resistance, we form this hypothesis of what's not working, and then we start to look for proof of it in our reality. We're like, okay, what isn't working? When you create that YouTube video, instead of looking at the 900 views that you got, you look at the 1100 views you didn't get. You're like, I wanted 2K views. Well, I'm 1100 short, but you're not grateful about the 900 you did get. So reality reflects more of the 1100 you did not get. The more ungrateful you are, the more you reside in this place of resistance, the more and more things you get to be resistant towards, right? So you really got to catch yourself when you're in this resistance mode and you're coming from this place. But the thing is, it's not easy to change that because this has become a conditioning. We're always looking at it. Some people are just pessimists. We just look at it as the glass half empty rather than the glass half full. So I actually made a video on that to reprogram your subconscious mind. Click up here to check that out. So to give you an example, again, when I first started off my business, I would always look at what didn't happen. And when I started to notice that was affecting how my business went, I would come into the calls thinking about reasons why this person wouldn't be a right fit to my program rather than why they would. So this hypothesis was affecting the outcome that I saw. Anytime you have a hypothesis, you're already discriminating it. You're already like discriminating the outcome. You're saying, okay, this is how it's gonna go. It's not gonna work out. And then you look for proof about where it's not gonna work out and it doesn't work out. You program your RAS with this, your reticular activating system. This was extremely key for me to understand. And once you move completely from this place of resistance to what you do want instead, then you reprogram your RAS the right way. The only way to do that is to have massive clarity around what you do want. Because right now you're probably very, very clear about what you don't want. Okay? So now let's talk about intention. And really what I mean by that is becoming results-oriented versus becoming process-oriented. This is what brought about change in every single area of my life. What you got to understand is when you focus on the goal, you are just focusing on that final, like what you want. And if there's no movement towards it, it's not going to be there. It's always, you're still going to be stuck here and here. There's always going to be that difference, right? So desire is the focus on the goal itself. Intention is the focus on the movement towards that goal. Okay? So when you focus on the process instead of the goal, then you begin that movement towards it. So what do I mean by that? Well, first of all, this is what I don't mean. When people think about a goal, before even defining what they want, they always think about how to get to it. That's a form of process orientation, but to clear up the misconception of that, that doesn't work because you're still coming from the same hypothesis, right? You're still coming from this place of resistance where you're like, okay, I don't want my 9-to-5 job. How do I get out? Okay, let's try the drop shipping. Let's try the affiliate marketing. Let's try the stock trading. All of this is also what I tried, right? And none of it really worked for me because I was coming from that hypothesis of what won't work, looking for the next shiny object to help me get to that unclear goal that I had. So before you even think about intention, you got to get clear about what you do want for your life and keep predominantly focusing on that. And then the right path towards it will automatically show up for you. I can't understate how powerful this is going to be for you once you conceptualize this. Because most of the time when we think about the how, we're coming from a place of resistance. We're already saying that, okay, it's not happening. It's not going to happen. I got to figure out how it's going to happen. But the truth is, you never really dig and find something from when you're coming from this place, right? I really want you to take a second and think about it. When you're coming from a place of resistance and you're looking for how, your judgment is going to be clouded by this hypothesis that you've already formed. So the first and foremost thing is to get massive clarity around what it is you want, why it is you even want it, and then seek how you want to get there, okay? But even more often than not, when you just focus on the desire, the how shows itself. Okay, I'm going to share with you an example how it happened for me. So what I mean by focusing on the process is to immerse yourself in the process. Okay, become process-oriented rather than results-oriented. So to give you an example, when I wanted to hit that big 100K month, when I just focus on the process, I just put my head up and, one day it was there. I didn't even notice because I was so immersed in the process. When I get on these calls, I don't look for how to sign this client, but rather I focus on the process of diagnosing the problem and if I can even help. And because I do that, the client signs, right? So becoming process-oriented is also the surefire way of becoming non-needy to the outcome. When you become needy to the outcome, you're already affirming to yourself you do not already have and that you need. That's why need and want are completely different things. Want comes from a place of desire. Need comes from a place of resistance. Need means I'm resisting my current reality. I don't want this. I want that. I need that because I don't want this. Want means, I accept where I am completely, but I just want to experience that anyways. It would be really awesome to experience that. I don't need it. I'm completely fine, but I would love to experience that. That would be awesome, right? So this is the best way to distinguish the difference between resistance and desire, and I hope that makes sense. So now I want to share with you the 3 keys to help you apply this in your life. I want you to pay close attention to this. Key number 1, whenever you're focusing on the resistance, and you'll see that as you start off in this process, your mind will unconsciously go to what's not working. And after working with several hundreds of people in the Reality Mastery program, this is what we've seen to be common. Why people don't move forward in their lives and why they keep moving backwards. They take a step forward and then a step backwards because they look for, okay, what do I want? What do I want? But then their mind unconsciously slips back into, what's not working? Why isn't this working? Why isn't that working? And then they complain about that, aka focus on that, right? So whenever you see that your mind is resistant, ask yourself this question. What do I want instead? Because unconsciously your mind is going to be thinking, I don't want this. I don't want to be going paycheck to paycheck. I don't want this 9 to 5. I don't want this. I don't want this. Well, what do you want instead? Shift your focus to that. You understand what you don't want, but what do you want instead? That's the key thing you got to ask yourself and remind yourself every time your mind does slip into that place of resistance. Because that's the smallest possible thing you can do for yourself. Go to that place of desire first. And only then does intention even become a possibility. Because if you're looking for that how again from that place of resistance, you're going to look for ways to confirm that hypothesis of what's not working by trying the myriads of business opportunities. And by the way, these business opportunities aren't bad, but we've seen that people just aren't able to make it stick because they don't even know what they want. They have a vague idea of it. And just like I did, I had a vague idea of financial freedom and I looked for the next opportunity that would get me there. Okay? So number one question you got to ask is, what do I want? I know what I don't want. What do I want instead? Get clear on that. Number two, you got to mentally make the decision. And this is probably the most important thing of all. Mentally make the decision to go towards that. When you make this decision, you make the choice. Anything that we ever achieve in our lives all happens as a result of the choice that we make. Whether or not we need it, whether or not we want it, whether or not we desire it with all our hearts. When you make the choice, it happens. Okay, everyone has the power of choice. Choice literally shifts you onto a different lifeline. It says, okay, you made the intention for this. Kind of like, it should be as simple as going to the mailbox and getting the mail. But then you build up all this emotional resistance towards it where you like think about getting the mail over and over and over again. You're like, should I get it? Should I not get it? Try this. Like, next time you go and reach for your TV remote or you go out and get the mail, try thinking about it for an hour before you go out and get it and see what happens. See the resistance that actually builds up for you to get to your mailbox and getting the mail. It's kind of crazy to think about it. If I now, instead of just raising my hand, I think about raising my hand for an hour, I'm like, okay, I'm going to raise my hand. I naturally build up this resistance because you get into this mental loop of like overthinking about it, whether or not I should do it, should I do it, should I do that? And then you think about the upsides and the downsides, you become very calculative instead of just going about and doing it, okay? So just make the choice and trust that it will happen. This is probably the most difficult part for people to understand, that when you just let the reins go, life presents you with the opportunities. Because us, in our little mental processes, we can't conceive of the grander scheme of things because the universe has plans for you. And you combine your intention with the general outer intention of the world. When you do that, then it becomes a win-win scenario for everyone, and then you move towards your goals and it helps serve other people as well, okay? Number two, number three is immediately act upon the revelation that you get. When you make the decision, when you make the choice, the path will naturally present itself to you. You just got to seize that opportunity then, instead of overthinking about it, okay? The more into mental thinking you get, the more you get in your own way. So to give you an example of this, I was focusing on what I did want for my life ultimately. What did I want to see in that ultimate destination, that final destination? And then ideas came to me and I was like, start up a YouTube channel. I followed it. I started up a YouTube channel, started sharing all this stuff. Never did I think that it would lead to me doing this full time and helping people transform their lives, right? But because I just seized the opportunity and then I used that as the process that would lead me to that ultimate goal, immerse myself in it, one thing led to another. I didn't go looking for that next opportunity. Do you see what I mean? I would have never expected to be having a business out of my YouTube channel, out of coaching, out of helping people transform their lives. God damn it, I was an engineer. I was studying engineering. For all I thought, I would make an engineering firm based on what I was taught to do. But it really is when you follow your heart. Okay, as cheesy as it sounds, when you follow what you want to do, what you would even do for free, that's when you're able to stick to that opportunity, what you're passionate about. The number one criteria has to be something you're passionate about, and then the rest will follow. Okay, and with that, I conclude this video. I hope this was helpful. Let's just recap it. What we talked about was accessing that place of pure intention when you're unhindered by resistance. When you get to intention and you let go of desire, you let go of resistance, what happens is naturally you just focus on the movement without thinking about it. When you stop thinking about getting your mail and you just put one foot in front of the other and go towards the mail, it becomes much simpler than overthinking about it, right? So understand that desire will always begin in resistance. You experience something, you don't like it. What do you want instead? But most people keep drumming up the resistance, right? We just keep staying stuck at the resistance. We keep looking at what's not working because we've gotten into that mode. Our hypothesis comes from the place of, okay, it's not working. Let's look for proof of where it's not working. See, I went to the gym for a month, it's not working. See, I went to the gym for 6 days and it's not working. Right? You'll find the most ridiculous reasons of why this isn't working. You try a new business opportunity and you're like, I tried it for a month, invested so much money in it, it's not working, and then you give up. Right? But understand that change will always occur because of the choice and the intention you make, not because of the desire you have. You can desire things, you can dream about things all you want, but the best it will do is provide you with the pathway to get to that desire. But you've got to seize that pathway and intend to get there. Intention is the focus on the movement towards the goal. Desire is just the focus on the goal itself. And really, we looked at this scale and why intention is completely devoid of this polarity. There's no opposite to intention. The opposite to desire is resistance and what you don't want, right? The minimum thing you can do is just focus on what you do want instead. And then the pathway will at least open up to you. And we talked about target fixation, how what you focus on, life doesn't care about the nature of it, but it cares about the content of the focus. You focus on avoiding the car, it just sees car. It doesn't care about avoiding or moving towards. You see what I mean? So remember that life doesn't care about the nature, but the content of your focus. So focus on what you do want rather than what you want to avoid. And I gave you an example of how in my business, my reticular activating system was focusing on what didn't work, and as a result, I was stuck. And seeing ups and downs of my business because I was focusing on the clients that I didn't get rather than the clients that actually did become successful with the program. When I shifted my focus that way, then forward movement started happening in that lifeline, in that trajectory. Okay? And really, intention is this focus on the process rather than focusing on the results of the process. When you just give up thinking about the result, what happens is you just naturally get immersed in the process. If I came into every single call focusing on how do I sign this client, instead of focusing on what the problem is that they're going through, I would have resisted the result anyways, right? So remember to process, orient, and immerse yourself in the process once it does show up for you. Whatever you do, get 100% in the process into that flow state. And then finally, we talked about the 3 keys that will make it happen for you. When you find yourself focusing on what you're resistant towards, what you don't want, ask yourself simply, what do I want instead? And focus on that. You just got to keep doing it a little bit to program yourself to focus on what you do want. You've got to become very, very conscious at this point. Number 2, mentally just make the decision to get towards that. That's all you've got to do. When you make the decision, the pathways show up to you. It's all in the decision that you make to your life and the firmness that you have in your decision. Okay? Number 3, whenever you get this revelation for what process will get you there, just act upon it. To give you an example, like I said, when I focus on that ultimate goal that I wanted for myself, I just focus on the goal because I didn't know what the process was. See, most people they focus on what they don't know. They're like, okay, how do I get there? Because they don't know the how yet. But what do you know? I know what I want. I just keep focusing on that and visualizing that and immersing myself in that. When you don't know the process and what the intention or what will get you there, the how that will get you there, focus on the goal until the process shows itself to you. When you focus on the goal, the pathways towards the goal reveal themselves to you. When you make the decision to get towards the goal, the pathways eventually reveal themselves to you. Napoleon Hill talks about this a lot in Think and Grow Rich. Okay? And then it's up to you to act upon that and seize that opportunity and use that to help you get towards the path. And with that, I conclude this video. Thank you so much for watching. I sincerely hope this was helpful. Please leave me any comments that you have, any questions that you have, and any ideas that you have on future videos that you'd like to see, things that you're struggling with. I'd love to help you out. And also, as I mentioned before, the free one-to-one consult with me and my team for the Reality Mastery Program is now open. Make sure you click on the link in the description below to sign up. Who this is for is the following. First of all, we typically work with professionals who are looking to transition out, move towards their passions, but they just find that they don't have that clarity, or they've tried different business opportunities and nothing ever sticks. And they're seeing that the problem isn't in the myriads of business opportunities that they've tried, but it's rather in them, right? It's an internal ceiling keeping them stuck here. And they're unable to break that ceiling. It's not a skill set problem. On paper, they're qualified. They should be able to take it to the next level. But internally, something's holding them back. If you're an entrepreneur who's stuck at a certain revenue level in your business, you want to scale up or you want to get to consistent revenue, but you're seeing that your internal world is reflecting out into your external world in that you have inconsistent revenue, or you just can't get up to that level and keep it up there. And you're seeing that it's not that you have all the masterminds, you have all the coaches, all the programs, all the strategies on paper, you should be making much more money. But for some reason, something internal is again keeping you stuck here. If that sounds like you, please take advantage of this opportunity. Click on the link below to sign up. Let's see how we can help. And the free Facebook group is also open for you to take advantage. The link is in the description. Thanks so much for watching. Till next time. Peace.